Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Anthony Momodu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Niconsat. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, has stated that arraigning and trying minors who have committed crimes is not against the law. The AJF, in a statement in Abuja, stressed that according to the Nigerian Constitution, trying to detain #EndBadGovernance protesters in a federal high court is not inappropriate, as claimed by many, given the crime with which they are charged. Recall that following the nationwide protest tagged #EndBadGovernance, which took place between August 1st and 10th, security agencies arrested several protesters, including the minors, which sparked public outrage. The Minority Caucus of the House of Representatives has demanded compensation for minors detained by the police for 3 months over alleged charges of terrorism, treasonable felony, and arson for participating in the #EndBadGovernance protest. In a statement jointly signed by Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda, Minority Whip Dr. Ali Issa, Deputy Minority Leader Aliyu Madaki, and Deputy Minority Whip George Uzo Dinobi. The caucus also called for investigation, prosecutions, and punishment of the actors, including individuals and government agencies involved in the ordeal of the minors and the other youths who took part in August protest. While commending President Tinubu for the release of the protesters, the Minority Caucus stressed the need for accountability and compassionate support in addressing the incident, hence the call for a thorough investigation and punishment of individuals and government bodies responsible for the youth's detention. The federal government has met with stakeholders in Lagos to discuss the proposed digital economy and e-governance bill, part of a series of consultations designed to shape a nationwide legal framework for the digital economy. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, speaking at the event, emphasized the government's commitment to involving all stakeholders to ensure the proposed legislation is both inclusive and impactful. The Lagos meeting followed earlier sessions held in several states as the government works to gather input from each of Nigeria's 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The bill, once passed, aims to improve data interoperability, boost the private sector's access to government data, and enhance digital services for Nigerians. The Tinkan Island Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has handed over 37 billion naira worth of unregistered pharmaceuticals to the officials of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the National Agency for Food, Drug and Control in Lagos. The Custom Area Controller, Tinkan Island Commander Dara Nandi, said the consignment, which were intercepted at the Lagos port between January and October 2024, were imported into Nigeria from Canada, India, and the United Kingdom. Nadi, while highlighting the command's achievement in the last 10 months, said the command in particular and the service in general will deeply and deploy all necessary resources and strategies at its disposal to check the menace of illegal importation of unregistered pharmaceutical products into the country. The Minister of Defense, Abubakar Baduru, and his counterpart, Bello Matawali, have condoled with President Bola Tinubu over the demise of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Turid Lagbaja, who passed away on Tuesday night. Samuel Odi has the details.
The Minister of Defense, Abubakar Badaru, described the death of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lagbaja, as tragic and a great loss to the nation. He described the late Chief of Army Staff as a gallant officer and a warrior who served in so many theaters and performed credibly at service. Badaru prayed for the purpose of Lieutenant General Lagbaja's soul.
He was a gallant officer, very, very hardworking. He was indeed a warrior. He has served in so many theaters and have done commendably well. It's a very sad loss for the country. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to receive him.
Also, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, lured the courage service to the nation. He described Lieutenant General Lagbaja as a great loss and condoled with his family and the nation.
He's a gallant officer and it's a great loss to this nation, and all we can say is to God to bless the family, and we assure Nigerians that we'll continue praying for the demise of Lagbaja, and we sending our condolences to the family of the deceased and Mr. President, because it's a great loss to this nation.
The acting chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, expressed regret following the death of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lagbaja.
The entire Nigerian army is actually in a very sorrowful mood, having lost our leader, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja. This was someone that gave his all to Nigeria. He was a selfless leader. Then I want to enjoin Nigerians. For someone that have given his all to Nigeria, we need to celebrate him. So in that, I think I want Nigerians to actually celebrate him for the good job he did while alive.
President Bola Tinubu had on Wednesday rescheduled the Federal Executive Council meeting to a yet-to-be-announced date to mourn the late Chief of Army Staff. Initially scheduled for today, the council meeting was postponed in honor of Lieutenant General Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff who passed away on Tuesday night. After announcing the postponement at the council chamber, Vice President Kashim Shettima lured other council members in observing a 1-minute silence in honor of the late Army Chief. Samuel Odi, reporting for Global Television News.
The armed forces of Nigeria have reaffirmed their commitment to the fight against terrorism despite the tragic loss of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tarid Lagbaja. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, made the assertion during the bi-weekly briefing military on operations across all theaters. He explained that the tragic loss would not deter the military from its mission of containing terrorist threat and ensuring national security. Sharon Ajay has the details.
The chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Yakubu Mahmood, says the stakeholders meeting is aimed to deliberate, appeal and encourage all political parties, traditional rulers, civil society organizations, security agencies, the media and other stakeholders to work together in order to achieve a successful exercise in the coming election.
I am glad that the relevant agencies have given us the necessary assurances of security during the election, including unimpeded access to voting and collation locations by observers and the media.
He reiterated the Commission's commitment to leverage on technology in order to prevent manipulation, ease the process for voters, and deliver results with accuracy and speed.
Let me reassure stakeholders that INEC is ready for the election. We are deploying the PVAS machines for voter accreditation at polling units and for upload of results to the INEC result viewing portal.
The INEC chairman urged the media to provide balanced reporting, devoid of sensitization, and educate the people on their rights and responsibility during the election. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, who was represented by Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 17, Abiodun Oladimeji Ashabi, warns the political leaders in Ondo State against engagement in thuggery. He added that the police with other security agencies will provide tight security during and after the election.
Bear in mind that performing our roles in fair and orderly manner will certainly reduce the security threats to the barest minimum, with a far-reaching effect on the credibility of the election.
National Commissioner supervising Ogun, Ondo and Osun State, Professor Ade Ajayi, says his commission is working closely with security agencies to ensure that residents can participate without fear and appeal to security personnel to be alert and ensure free and fair election.
We recognize that election security is paramount to ensuring that voters can participate without fear. The presence of security officials will be solely to maintain peace and protect all individuals involved in the process.
Kelomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has called on political parties and their candidates in Ondo State to conduct themselves in highest level of decorum and responsibility during and after the Guba elections. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, made the call at the Ondo State Governorship Election Stakeholders Meeting in Akure. The governor of Ondo State, Honorable Lucky Ayedatiwa, has continued his statewide governorship campaign tour, taking a message of comprehensive development to the people of Okitipupa local government area. Received by jubilant supporters who trooped out in their thousands, Governor Ayedatiwa promised to build on the legacies of the last governor from the Southern Senatorial District, late Olusegun Agagu, who hailed from the local government. Again, Kelomo Okeri tells us more.
Meeting with the traditional rulers of the area at the Okitipupa local government secretariat, Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa says he considers himself fortunate to be the third governor emerging from the region, following the legacy of service established by his predecessors. Governor Ayedatiwa acknowledged the foundational infrastructure established by the late former governor Olusegun Agagu and promised to build on those achievements, especially in the area of road construction. To further support the growth in Ikale land, the governor pledged to facilitate the establishment of the airstrip facility in the local government so as to make it easy for investors to access the region, as well as facilitating business and economic opportunity and growth. He also reaffirmed that the proposed deep sea project in the south will commence after the election in the coming year. The governor also disclosed that a 20-kilometer road construction project in the Southern Senatorial District has already been approved, aiming to enhance connectivity in the region. Speaking on behalf of the monarchs, the Abodi of Ikale land, Oba George Babatunde Faduyile Adegun II, expressed their support for the governor. Addressing a large gathering of enthusiastic supporters at Methodist Primary School in Okitipupa, Governor Ayedatiwa conveyed his gratitude to the people as he was visibly moved by the impressive turnout. The governor, in company of the Director General of the campaign, Honorable Abiola Makinde, and Chief Olushola Oke, among other party leaders, also commissioned the secretariat of APC in the local government. Kelomo Okeri, Global Television News.
You're watching Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where Midday News returns. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokobiri, showcases Nigeria's strategic reforms in oil sector, invites foreign investors. Details of these as well as foreign and sports stories coming right after the break. Please stay with us. Back from the break in business, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, has engaged with international investors, highlighting Nigeria's significant potential as a key energy investment hub. Lokobiri, speaking at the African Energy Week 2024 in Cape Town, South Africa, emphasized Nigeria's position as home to nearly 30% of Africa's oil and gas reserves. According to a statement signed by the minister's special advisor on media and communication, Nemeka Okafor, The minister underscored the government's commitment to creating an attractive investment environment through strategic reforms in the oil and gas sector. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has thrown its weight behind the threat by the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers (NUPENG) to embark on a nationwide strike over the alleged use of military personnel to eject workers from the Orisha-Mayen oil rig. This was contained in a statement signed by the NLC President Joe Ajaero. The NLC condemned the allegation against the military by the oil workers, adding that it stands solidly behind NUPENG. Just as it threatened to escalate its response to the dispute should the breach of agreement and the use of military and other security agencies to interfere in industrial relations matter continue. Ajaero reaction comes following a lingering industrial dispute between the owners of the Orisha-Mayen oil rig and NUPENG over an alleged breach of agreement freely entered into by the two parties. The National Onion Producers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria has declared a state of emergency in the onion industry across the country. President of the association, Issa Aliyu, made this known during a press briefing in Abuja, identifying some of the problems being faced by his members, which include the rising cost of onion seedling, post-harvest losses, inflation, as well as climate change and extended rainfall patterns. The association also called on all relevant stakeholders, which includes the government at all levels of the financial house, among others, to rally together for solutions. On the foreign scene, Democrats are facing a painful reckoning over Kamala Harris's dropping at the hands of Donald Trump in the U.S. presidential election, as shock gives way to anger and recrimination in the aftermath of the devastating repudiation. Lawmakers and strategists looking for someone to blame for Tuesday's wipeout have so far been more likely to target President Joe Biden than Harris, who is regarded as having done a decent job with the short time she had to campaign. Trump's triumph was accompanied by a Republican red wave in the Senate, which has proved to be a Rorschach test, with rival factions each offering reasons for the defeat, informed by their particular brand of democratic politics. Palestinian envoy to Nigeria, Abdullah Abu Shawesh, has expressed deep concerns about the likely actions or stand of the newly elected 47th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. The ambassador, who made this known at the press briefing in Abuja, noted that the previous experience under Trump made it difficult to tell if he will keep to his campaign promises of ending wars across the world. Global Television correspondent tells us more. The Palestinian envoy to Nigeria, Abdullah Abu Shawesh, therefore called on the International Committee to compel Donald Trump to keep to his campaign promises of ending the carnage in the Middle East despite his first-term bias in favor of Israel.
If this is the case, we have a very bad experience with the President-elected Trump. When he was in his office 4 years ago, he took approximately 17 measures. All of these measures is against the Palestinian people. To name some of it, just he recognized Jerusalem as the eternal capital of Israel, which is against the international law. We all know that Jerusalem or East Jerusalem is considered as occupied territory, Palestinian occupied territory.
The envoy says in just 1 year, the U.S. has spent at least $22.76 billion on military aid to Israel, leading to the 90% of the Gaza population suffering food insecurity, displacement, lack of cash, water, and medicine.
We pledge that no one will be left behind. 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We, the Palestinians, were left behind. 398 days of non-stop bleeding at the hands of the United States of America, Israel, different slaughtering machine.
Shawesh pleaded with the newly elected President of the United States, Donald Trump, to uphold the tenets of international law to ensure true global peace and the freedom of the Palestinian people.
Just to abide by the international law. I will not add more than that. For President, the elected President Trump, just to abide by the international law.
It is hoped that the promise by the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, to end the killing of over 43,392 Palestinians with 103,337 injured amidst 85,000 tons of bombs dropped in Gaza by the Israeli Defense Forces will come to pass for the good of humanity. Anthony Momodu reporting for Global Television. And running into the exciting world of sport, officials say Israeli football fans have faced a series of attacks in the center of Amsterdam, with riot police having to intervene several times to protect them. While Prime Minister Dick Schoof condemned the attacks, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent 2 rescue planes to the Netherlands. Amsterdam's mayor and authorities said that despite the massive police presence, Israeli fans had been injured in several parts of the Dutch capital. Supporters of Israeli club Maccabi Tel Aviv had traveled to Amsterdam for a Europa League match against Ajax. Galatasaray has said its 3-2 victory over Tottenham in the UEFA Europa League was not just a win for the club, but a statement for Turkish football. In a statement on the club's website, head coach Okan Buruk declared that the team did not just play for Galatasaray, but played for Turkish football with an aggressive 3-4-1-2 formation tailored specifically to counter Tottenham's setup. Galatasaray's preparation and bold tactics paid off. Buruk noted that the week allowed his squad extra time to drill for the match, enabling them to control possession and exploit Tottenham's gaps. That's it on Midday News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276 and free to air on Niconsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen at Global TV NG. I am Anthony Momodu. Thanks for watching.